So today I have a true legend in the studio. Everybody's been so, I know, I saw you smirk. It's okay.
Yeah.
I do too when people call me that. But everyone's been so excited about you being here. And I'm also equally thrilled to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Julia Ann, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Nice.
It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
You look amazing. I said that before we started, but you really do. You look happy.
I am.
You are happy. You just got married recently, right?
I did, January 1st.
Wow. And did you get married in Hawaii? You
Hawaii.
looked like you were somewhere tropical.
Yeah, Hawaii. It was just me and him and my girlfriend and my other girlfriend, Jenna Fox.
Jenna, she's so sweet.
The funniest thing ever. She's a riot.
She's hilarious.
Hilarious because she doesn't mean to be.
Yeah. I had to drop her off at your house the other day because we were shooting a scene for Twisties and we were using sparklers in the scene. And I guess the smoke from the sparklers made both her and Molly Stewart very sick.
To be fair, like
very sick. No, they were both
sick.
Super sick.
Like I've never seen. She's one of these people. She's like a really rare breed in the world of working, period, let alone our industry. But you could call her right now and be like, "Oh my God, I had a cancellation. Can you be here in 30 minutes?" She'd be like, "I'll be right there." Like it's like the weirdest thing. Like she could. It doesn't matter. Like she can do it. Like she can muster it up no matter what's happening.
Yeah.
And so when she came in and I literally poured her into a bed, like she could hardly see, it was really kind of intense. I was like, wow, I've never really seen you like this.
I know. I mean, I had to drive her car to your place. I was really worried about the two of them.
I know. I was supposed to drive you back. And then she's like, no, she wanted to take an Uber. And I was like, well, she doesn't want to get in my car. I got it.
Yeah, I didn't want to get in your car because I don't want to spend any time with you. So instead, I invited you on my podcast.
Fucking rude.
It was like fucking midnight. I didn't want you to have to drive me back. I know, but I just didn't.
I was up. I was ready to come get her. I was like, what do we need to do? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. All right. I like how we spent like the first 5 minutes of this podcast talking about Jenna Fox, but she is amazing. I do love her.
Excuse me. Like, she lived with me for almost 2 years. Well, no, for 2 years. So, there's a lot to talk about. It makes total sense. You'd be like, what's new with you, Jenna Fox? What's old with you, Jenna Fox? What's current, Jenna Fox?
Oh, my gosh. So, Julia Ann.
Yes.
I guess let's start from the beginning. How did you get started in the industry?
Well, let's see. My goodness. Janine was feature dancing. She was a Penthouse pet. She said, I don't want to feature dance by myself anymore. Let's do this thing called the duo act. And I was like, what's that? And she's like, we're going to go to strip clubs and we're going to dance together and put on a show and we're going to get paid. And
how did you know Janine?
Because her husband at the time was the singer in a band that my ex-boyfriend was the drummer in.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
like that's how that all came down.
Okay.
It was organic, it wasn't like a thing. And we were like 18 and 19. And so in like 91, I was like, fine, I'll do it. So we called ourselves Blondage, and about a year into that, I recognized that the porn girls were commanding more money on the road, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, I'm thinking about kind of getting into porn. And she said, oh my God, it just so happened that this director named Andrew Blake asked me if I would do a porn. Let's do it. And then we did Hidden Obsessions, and there you go.
And this was the scene. I remember I watched this when I was under the age of 18. Yes. Sure, I was 18. I was not.
1 + 8. No.
And that was the scene with the ice dildo, right? Yeah. I remember, oh my God, I so remember that scene. And I remember thinking, like, that has got to be really cold. How was that? Because you guys played it off and it was so beautiful. And Andrew was like such, so legendary in the way he artistically created these porn scenes. And a lot of people these days don't know who he is, but he truly was like one of the innovators for that kind of like artsy erotic stuff. But I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, that couldn't have been comfortable.
No, it was very, very, very cold. They had like 5 of them. We didn't have molds at the time. So we had like 5 of them sculptured or whatever and made. And they were in the freezer of this house. And each time one would melt down to a certain point, we'd pull the next one out and we'd start again. And they were freaking cold.
Was your vagina like completely numb?
No, you know what? No, because you do something for a second, then you stop.
Yeah.
Right. So then you're like, you never really get numb.
Yeah.
But your labia and all that tissue down there is not the same as the tissue like on your hands and stuff like that, right? So what hurt more were my hands from holding it because of all the nerve endings holding it.
Yeah.
Where even if you stop shooting for a second, you pull it away, you're still holding it. So somebody had to keep running by with a towel and pulling it out of our hands in between takes. And then there was like a bucket of warm water, so we could put our hands in it. And it was cold.
It was like a whole ordeal.
And then one of them became a shard, and she got cut. And it was a thing. Like, it was a thing. Like,
wow. Yeah. All in the name of art. Mm-hmm. Well, it came out beautiful.
Thanks.
So Blondage was like a pretty big thing. I mean, it's definitely something that you're really well known for. You traveled all over the place, did that, and then you got into porn. Mm-hmm. And then, so you did shot for Andrew Blake, and then where did you go from there?
From Andrew Blake, I did more Andrew Blake. And because the production manager actually for Andrew Blake is who I kind of stuck with. Mm-hmm. And her husband was a director called Freddie Lincoln. Mm-hmm. And so I spent the better part of my career with Andrew Blake and Freddie Lincoln. Okay.
And who did Freddie direct for?
Like, Metro, Caballero, Sin City, like all of those, like there was, it was pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the big, big studios.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I worked for him and with him, and that was it. And then I went to Vivid, and I was with Vivid for X amount of time. And then from Vivid, I went to Digital Playground, which I ran with my tail between my legs because it's changed hands, just so everybody knows. But at the time, they were horrible. Yeah. Horrible people. And then, so I left, which was great because they told my agent at the time, they were like, she's acting like she doesn't want to be here. And he said, funny you should mention it because she doesn't want to be here.
The old people that ran Digital Playground fought with us too.
They were tough.
We had a big fight with them over Tara Patrick, actually.
They were tough.
They sent us, there was Tara, I think, was trying to get out of her contract, and my mom had shot her. And then I think Tara wanted to shoot again, but we weren't sure if she was still under contract. So I think we asked them because we didn't want to get in the middle of some kind of legal battle because they were very litigious. Yes, they were. And they sent us a letter basically saying that Tara Patrick was still under contract, and if we were to shoot her, they would sue us. It was this very nasty letter. My mom framed it and hung it in the bathroom of her studio.
That's so her.
Yeah, it is so her. Awesome. She was like, fuck you.
That's awesome.
But yes, Digital Playground is now owned by MindGeek, completely different people. So we're not talking about the current company that runs Digital.
But no, back then they were pretty tough. And in fact, they loved rumors. I don't know if you remember this, but they loved any publicity was good publicity. And so they would literally say vile things for publicity. It was the weirdest thing. And they would pit the girls against each other for publicity. It was so strange. So all of a sudden I hear rumors that I broke into their studio. I stole tapes that I was in, and then I lit them on fire in their bathroom. And I was like, have you guys ever seen their place? They had barbed wire rings around the top of the chain link fence. And how am I Mission Impossible? I could just see me what's happening? I'm scaling chain link in order to, and barbed wire in order to get into a studio that has iron doors to get into safes in order to then just light them on fire in the sink. Like, I don't understand. Or that I attacked Tara Patrick with like a lit curling iron and I set her hotel room on fire. Like,
what?
Dude. Now, there's a little truth to that. I'll give him that.
Oh, okay.
But this is the truth. We were getting ready in her room.
Mm-hmm.
We were in France.
Mm-hmm.
I had the thing that you can plug in your curling iron, but I didn't have the thing to dumb down the wattage.
Okay, yeah, because you're on different
yes.
frequencies, but yeah, because you're in Europe.
Yeah, so in Europe, like their electricity is super, super, super strong.
Yes.
So even if you can get the plug that you can plug it in, you're supposed to get this other thing that like takes their electricity and makes it less than
converts it.
Yeah, for your appliance. Well, I didn't have that, so I plugged it into the thing, and the thing my curling iron, I pick it up from the floor. It has burned a hole in the carpet in the floor, and when I pick it up, the barrel on it turns down, slides
like it
off.
melted?
Yeah, slides off the wires, which the wires are sparking, and they're like, and I'm like, oh my God. And I throw it, of course, into the trash can because I'm not terribly bright. And so now the trash can starts smoldering, and I'm freaking out. So that's the story. So was there a curling iron? Yes. Was there a burn in a carpet? Yes. Was there actually a fire? No. Did I attack her? No, we were getting ready together in her room, and I had to pay the hotel $500 to replace the part of the carpet.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but they liked that, like
right.
that thing. And I just couldn't. So I ran with my tail between my legs. I was like, I'm out of here. You guys are morally reprehensible. So then I went to, so then I was with Wicked for a long time. And then I went on my own. And I got to say, that was the best time of my career is when I ventured out on my own.
Mm. Now, when you say
much fun.
When you say you ventured out on your own, what'd you do? Did you start your own website? Did you just shoot freelance for other people? Like,
no, I mean, I'd already had my website, but it was just all of a sudden I was able to meet after, God, from 91. So figure like a good 15, 17 years. Mm-hmm. I didn't meet 3/4 of the industry. I was in a bubble.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So now all of a sudden, I'm walking on set and there's people like going, oh my God, hi, we've never worked together. I'm like, hi, who are you? Like, yeah. And it's like, oh, well, I'm, Quasar, right? Yeah. Like, I didn't know Mike. I didn't know him for anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know Mick Blue. I didn't know Manuel Ferrara. I didn't know anybody.
Right.
Because I was in a bubble.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you. I never meet other producers. Like, people are always like, oh, do you know so-and-so? And I'm like, why? How would I know them? I only work on my own sets. But having this podcast, I've met a lot of people. The first time I ever met Mike was on this podcast. And now we've become great friends.
He's too much.
He's hilarious. He's so funny.
He's too much.
We actually, besides Mike, we have a other friend in common that I completely forgot to mention. Josh Lazy.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on this podcast, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're friends in, not like Mike and I are friends, right? He and I are friends, like, we've had pizza, like, once, and we've watched a movie once, but he actually used to date Janine.
Yes.
That's how I know him.
I know, he told me.
And he was married to a girlfriend of mine that I used to scuba dive with.
Oh, random.
Yeah, so it was the strangest thing because she and I were actually friends. And she had originally dated an ex-boyfriend of mine. So I really had never put anything together, right? And so it was always like our relationship was always great, but we had always dated the same person before we got to know each other. So there was always that, like, oh, that's our connection. Like, we dated the same guy. It's kind of weird. And then one day she's like, wait a minute, you're friends with, wait, are you talking Janine? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, she dated my ex-husband. And all of a sudden I went, oh my God. Josh.
Yeah.
And she was like, yes. And I was like, thank God we have something else in common. I was so excited.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like he knows so many people that I know, like just random kind of connections.
Yeah.
So having been in the industry for a while and seeing how things have changed, how do you feel about the way things have changed? Like from the big studios that, had the contract girls and all the glitz and the glamour to, people being more independent and being able to produce their own content and kind of cutting out the middleman. Do you think that one is better than the other?
I don't know, because I don't know if I feel like there's maybe third options that we haven't quite broached. Like we had the companies that were a little bit more male oriented as far as owning it and shooting it. And what's great is that now, being that talent is doing their own stuff, so that means that women are, I think, probably at this point a higher population of producer than men are. And even if we don't see like an individual doing their OnlyFans as a business, technically they really are. So if they're directing and they're producing and they're putting up their own stuff, then technically like they're a company owner, they're brand owner, owner. And so I think that's awesome. But God, I wish there had been like an in between, where we had more women owning bigger companies and less of them, as opposed to it being so parsed out. Because there's something about this whole internet craze of us all putting out our own stuff, and there's so many of us, as that we're becoming numbers to each other. We're disassociating from each other, and it's becoming a dog eat dog. And it's frightening to me.
I have noticed that. So social media has been a big platform for people to, bring up a lot of issues. Some of it has been really great. Women have been able to find their voice and call out people that I think needed to be called out. But as you said, there's also been a really negative element where people are quick to jump on the bandwagon of attacking and vilifying other performers without really knowing much about the situation. And I have noticed that on many occasions, you've kind of come out as this voice of reason where, you've said, hey, everybody, let's just like take a minute and let's not jump to conclusions and let's not jump on like the Twitter lynch mob bandwagon.
Because I don't have a lot of fear.
Right.
Like a lot of, here's the thing. Just because you don't hear a lot of people saying what I'm saying doesn't mean there's not a ton of people thinking it. The thing is that reasonable people are less likely to speak.
Right.
That is a fact, because reasonable people are afraid of getting attacked. They're afraid of becoming a part of something that they can't pull out of, because the unreasonable people are vicious and they taste blood, and then they band together and they become pack mentality, and you don't want to deal with it. Like reasonable people don't want to deal with it. They want to put food on the table. They want to take care of their families. They want to get their health care if at all possible. They want to feed their dog. Like they do not want to deal with everybody's irrational BS.
Right.
They just don't.
Right.
Where I have had my career.
You're not worried about
what are you gonna do? Run me out?
Yeah. You're not worried about pissing people off.
No, I'm not
losing work.
No.
Yeah.
No. And so I don't care. Like I will tell you what I think if I feel it's appropriate, and hopefully I'll have a decent debate with you or conversation. Like one of the girls and I went back and forth, and here's the thing: I really do adore her. I think that there was, in my opinion, she lost a little perspective, especially since there were other things that have happened in the past that she was more attached to. And so she acted differently in those things. Like she was concerned more about the person that was actually being lynched. Where in this case, she became the lyncher. So I sort of had to remind her, just because you don't like this person doesn't mean... Don't forget, it wasn't that long ago that you had concerns over this other person, and it was really kind of similar. But at the end of the day, I could say to her, I love you. I adore you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to agree with you here, but I respect you.
Right.
You know, and to me, that's often missing. You know, you're either with me or against me. And that seems to be the internet. You're either with me or you're against me. And there's no, hey, babe, I'm with you in theory, but in this particular situation, I'm not with you in it. I'm with you having the right to feel and do and think for yourself, but I'm not with you. I can't carry that torch with you because I don't agree with it. And that's not handled well. Mm-hmm. It's not handled well on the internet at all because it's too easy to not see somebody as an individual. It's too easy to group. So instead of looking at you and saying, I see you as a person, on the internet, I can see you as white. I can see you as privileged. I can see you as a woman. I can see you as a man. I can see you as, if you're black, oh, you must be Black Lives Matter. If you're Mexican, you must be, go back over the wall. If you're like, you take individuals and you make them part of a group on the internet. It's very easy to take the individuality away from people, lump them together as a way to devalue their voice and to shut them down. And then you don't have to contend with something you don't agree with.
Right.
But unfortunately, you've also shut down the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like serious polarization going on, I mean, in this country.
Yes.
And on social media. Do you think that social media has, in a sense, made our lives better or worse? Or is it kind of a mixed bag?
It's a mixed bag. But, if you were to tell me that there was more or less benefit to it, I would say that there's less benefit to it. There is benefit to it.
Yeah.
For sure. But there's also, but I don't, in a risk-benefit analysis, I would say the benefits, I don't know that they outweigh the risk. I just don't know that they do. I like I said, I think it's too easy to disassociate from individuals, from humanity with social media. And instead of me listening to you and going, I hear you, Holly, as a person, I'm looking at you in your eyes and I'm talking to you and I hear you. I don't necessarily agree with you, but I could totally hug you when this conversation's over because I see you as a person. Instead, on the internet, I see you as blonde. I see you as white. I see you as
134 characters.
I see you as this. I see you as a group. I don't see you as a person, as an individual with your own feelings, your own needs, your own experiences. I've already decided who you are. I've already decided what you are according to the group that I have now believed you belong in.
Right.
And so therefore, you're just one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't have to talk to you because you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
I took away all your individuality.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw all of my bias on exactly what I thought, what group you belong to, and what your group stands for. And it's like insane. That is the thing that gets people depressed. That's the thing that gets people suicidal. That's the thing that gets people angry. And it's the thing that it tears people apart. It tears groups apart. It's not bringing us together. It's just not. Even the Me Too movement, it's fabulous. But why is it just women? Like, I understand that there's that the percentages of women that have some sort of a bad sexual experience or something revolving around sex, it's extremely high, extremely high. I do think, however, for us to only apply it to us, then it eliminates the group, the very group and the individuals that are male or non-binary or however it is they identify. We're making it men and women, and now we're like leaving out like all these individuals.
Mm-hmm.
But individuals are hurt.
Right.
It's not just a group. Individuals are hurt. So now you've got a bunch of men going, I'm sick of the Me Too movement because it's all about women. It's all about you guys. And I was sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear me griping about it. That's what you've actually alienated almost half of the demographic. The half that you say you would like better from you've actually alienated, you've insulted, because not all of them are that way.
Right.
And you've turned them into the enemy. So how are you going to turn to them now and say, can I please ask better from you? Mm-hmm. They're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Look what you just called me.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. It's like people
hard.
have taken that to such an extreme where it's like almost everything that men do that people don't deem inappropriate is some kind of attack. And it's actually almost created this environment where people are so quick to, jump on the Me Too bandwagon that like women like me, myself, sometimes I'm afraid to like say that I think maybe this is taking it a little bit too far. Maybe, you accusing this guy.
Say that? Now you're going to be
right.
But now that you're going to be part of the the status quo. You're going to be part of the status quo.
Right.
Look at you keeping patriarchy alive. It's unfortunate because you can't have a voice. The second you say, as a person, I'm feeling something, they go, you're not thinking that as a person. You're thinking that as a woman who's betrayed women. How dare you speak with your hidden penis? God, it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And instead of me going, no, I'm just kind of a rational person that's throwing out maybe an option to think about that, I know a guy that came up and was like, I gotta be honest with you. Like, I got drunk. I woke up the next morning. I looked at the girl and I was like, did we have sex last night? And she was like, yeah. He's like, you had sex with me while I was like kind of passed out? And she was like, yeah. Like, it's not a thing, right? It's like, it's not a thing, right? Had the girl looked at that guy and been like, did you have sex with me last night while I was passed out? He would have been like, fuck no. Because he already knows that that's called rape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but he was like, did that just happen? And she was like, cool with it. Like, 'cause you're a dude, like, and I'm a chick. So you should be cool with the fact that I violated you while you were passed out. And then afterwards he was like, I don't know. I guess no big deal, I guess. And I was like, now you're the chick that we're talking about, right? Now you're the girl that's like, I'm going to pretend it didn't happen and just be like, well, I guess, I can understand where, now you're apologizing for her. Like, so I don't know. Like, okay.
But then the argument that people always have, though, is that you can't rape a guy because his penis has to be hard in order to have sex with him. And if his penis is hard, that means he's turned on, which automatically means he's consenting.
Which is clearly not true because he was passed out.
Right.
And you can get a hard on when you're asleep. Anybody who has any like rational thought whatsoever knows that a guy can wake up with a tent. We all know that. Also, at this point, I'd like to think that we all understand that even when a man is completely terrified, their body can still give them a hard on because it's about the blood. It's about the blood rushing. It's not only because they're sexually turned on. There are other ways that this happens. So it's just not rational. You're not listening to a person. You're making that guy part of the group. And then if the group can't be raped, so that guy can't be raped.
Right.
That's not fair.
Right.
It's just not fair. And it's unfortunate. And I don't think social media has really helped us in that. I feel like, sure, it's gotten a lot of things out and some women have got some stuff off their chest and some men have gotten some stuff off their chest. Sure. But we're just individuals and we're just people.
Right.
And we're playing with something, all of us thinking we're professional, playing with a very dangerous toy, and none of us are professionals, and we're just wielding this thing around.
The problem is given
in mud
a platform to everybody to speak, and a lot of people don't think about what they say.
Do you not just stop sometimes and go, "Did I ask your opinion?"
Yeah, I know, right?
When I put on look at my new tattoo, they're like, "You need to erase that. Why would you do that? What were you thinking? What? No. You're on my social media because you want me to share my life.
Right.
I'm sharing it. I'm not asking for permission.
Right.
I'm not asking for... You made a mistake when I said, look at the tattoo of my dog. You thought there was a question mark. Clearly, my punctuation did not show a question mark.
Right.
And I have lost the ability to explain to people that are too stupid to realize I didn't ask them a question. Mm-hmm. I now just block.
Yeah.
I don't have time to explain to every single person that doesn't realize I didn't ask you a question. And they're like, oh, well, I can't have an opinion. You can. I didn't ask for it, though.
Right. It's
you can. I didn't ask you for it.
Right. It was interesting. Brianna Banks, I had Brianna Banks on, and she mentioned something about how the interaction with fans is so much different now on social media, because back in the day, you know, they would have to come to events to see you. They would have to stand in line. They'd come see you dance. And those were the people that truly appreciated you and would go out of their way to drive 2 hours to see you, would stand in line for an hour. So, you know, these were the people that really, like, they were fans, like they loved you. You know, they're not going to stand in line for 2 hours to be like, Julia, you shouldn't have that tattoo. But now with social media, because people can just say whatever they want, they can hide behind an anonymous avatar, and they don't have to like tell you who they really are. They'll just say fucking anything to you.
Yeah.
And it's become this like breeding ground for so much negativity, so much criticism. I mean, some of the things that people say.
They think they know what you're thinking. Always. So like if I were to be like, you know, I didn't ask you, then people are like, oh. No, if somebody said something horrible to me, and I would be like, dude, I hear you. I don't really care. Well, obviously you care. You answered. That means I answered you as a person. Mm-hmm. I honestly don't really care. Like, there is a difference. You can try to make it whatever you want to make yourself feel good.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm really explaining to you that your arrogance has no place here. Mm-hmm. That you're wasting your words and my space. And if anybody's going to care, it's going to be the other people who care about me, not me. So how about you spare them your BS? You know, I just don't have time for the BS. Like, it's too much. And if you're going to come on, and I will block you because you are too arrogant to realize I didn't ask you.
Yeah.
You're so arrogant.
I mute people. So
that's on Twitter.
So, okay. So they don't even know. But yeah, if I get someone aggressive on Instagram, I don't even bother responding. I just block them.
Yeah, I just block to the second you say something that at all triggers me, just to be annoyed.
Right.
Just to be annoyed. And it's not I'm not annoyed at your words.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that you think you're so smart and important that you had a right to spew your venom at me.
Right.
It's your arrogance that gets you blocked.
And also, too, I mean, there's a lot of cowardice behind that, because they're not saying that to your face.
Cowards.
They know that you're never going to come after them and actually like show up at their door and be like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, right.
I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if like that was the case? Like you show up at their door like, hey, you left that comment on my Instagram. What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're all arrogant little cowards.
Yeah.
And that is really, if you're one of those people out there, I'm going to tell you right now, that's all we think of you.
Yeah.
That is really all we think. Oh, look, another arrogant little coward who needs a hobby and a hug. Like, that's literally all that kind of entertains us before we go, I have to go get a pedicure now. Like, and move on with my life.
Right,
like, it's really like that.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, and then we will be right back. Are you a fan of my podcast, Holly Randall Unfiltered? Of course you are. Well, I need your help to keep this show going. This is why I've set up a Patreon account where you can donate to support my show. And in exchange, you can be eligible for all kinds of cool, fun perks and prizes, which include autographed DVDs and books. See, guys, she's actually signing shit. Free membership passwords to my website, hollyrandall.com, free mugs, pens, shirts, bags, all kinds of really cool stuff. So take care of me and I will take care of you. I will not only be able to continue to produce this podcast with really awesome, inspiring content about your favorite adult stars, but I will also give back to you in terms of all the cool, fun perks and prizes that we offer. So please support me at patreon.com/HollyRandallUnfiltered. And thank you guys so much for your support. I could not do this without you. Okay, we're back. So Miss Julia Ann, with all of the wisdom that you have accumulated over the years, what advice would you give to new girls coming into the industry?
Get a Sapphira.
Get a what?
A SEP-IRA.
What's that?
Oh my God.
Wait, what's a SEP-IRA? A what?
SEP, SEP-IRA account.
Oh, like a retirement, like IRA.
Are we gonna have to have a meeting when this is over?
Actually, it's really sad. I have those, and I don't know anything about it. And I just set up a meeting with my financial advisor because I've just like let that money sit in there, and I haven't added anything to it. I've been very financially responsible in that way.
Okay,
but when I worked for my parents, they set one up for me.
Of course,
Mommy and Daddy did. So I still have that. I haven't touched it, but I haven't added anything to it. Okay, right. So you're saying. Like set up a retirement account.
Yeah, set up a retirement account, set up a savings account, stash stuff away, do your taxes. You don't want them coming after you.
Do your taxes.
It's just
Jesus
brutal.
Christ.
It's just brutal.
I get letters from the IRS every year on performers who haven't paid their taxes telling me to put a lien on their income. Like all the time. Yeah.
It's too much.
You're never going to get away from the IRS.
I've just now got Jenna on it.
Yeah.
Just now got her on it. She's getting that shit done.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get this done.
Yeah, you do.
So, put some money aside because you never know what's going to happen. And if nothing else, you could decide, hey, you know what? I want to take a break and I want to go do this for a minute, but you can't do it if you don't have a little something stashed, you know? So just have something stashed. And that's really super, super important. And also, I would say whenever you're in a position where there's something you may not want to do, say no. But it's too easy to say. And it means nothing because when you're in the situation, it all gets crazy.
Has that ever happened to you?
No, I have gotten into situation's a really bad word because people are going to read bias into it. Okay, so I have put myself into scenes that afterwards I said, I will never do that again. I absolutely acknowledge that I had a right to walk out. Mm-hmm. And of course you're not going to get paid. I don't understand why people are like, get all upset, like, yeah, but then she wouldn't have gotten paid. No, you didn't do the scene. Of course you're not going to get paid. Mm-hmm. You know what? If I asked my gardener to do something and then like part way through, he's like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm like, that's fair. I'll get somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but he's not going to ask for the money for it. Mm-hmm. It's not a thing.
I think, though, that to be fair, a lot of these girls are probably in situations they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. And also, in that case, a lot of girls, like, you got to do your fucking research, man. Do not show up for a company not having looked them up or having any idea what kind of scene you're going to be doing. Because I see that happen a lot. Like, girls being upset that they like, you know, doing a scene for
OCD.
That's okay. I do the same thing. We're both like straightening the tablecloth.
Tablecloth is making me crazy.
Like,
I'm like, it's off here, and then it's probably off on your side, so you're probably pulling it back, and then I'm going, no, but it's not right. That's the worst. Okay, you know, I get that. I get that you say yes to something, and you don't. Partway through, you realize, okay, I didn't ask enough questions.
I didn't sign up for this. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was going to go this far. Or, like me, I knew it was going to be something, but I didn't know if it was something I was going to like yet or something I wasn't going to like.
Right.
And therefore, this was my test to see if it was my thing or not my thing. Mm-hmm. But because it was my test and I took it upon myself, I went through the whole thing because that was who I was. I was like, you know what? BDSM, whipped ass, kink, right?
You had a bad experience there, I remember.
Yeah, but that was not
an accident.
It was an accident.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard
it was kink's amazing.
I've heard wonderful things about kink.
Kink is amazing. But
accidents happen on
but
set.
They're but the scenes, but the certain acts are aggressive, and they're especially aggressive if you're not aggressive, right? Mm-hmm. So I decided I was going to sub and I was going to do whipped ass, and like hours into this, I thought to myself, I'm going to beat the shit out of the next person who hits me, right? It's going to go down, okay, right? The next person who spits on me, I'm decking, right?
Yeah.
But then I realized, no, you're the submissive. Yeah. So I recognized and I resigned myself to the situation that I decided I wanted to see if I would like, because it's not anybody else's fault. I use this as a testing ground.
Right.
So I finished my scene and then never did it again. I've done it as a dom, but I've never done it again as a sub.
Yeah.
So that was my trial and error. But of course I went through with it because that's who I was. I was like, I can do anything for another hour that I would die if I had to do for the rest of my life. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can do this, and I realized, this is not something I am, so I won't do it again.
Right.
But was I victimized by it? Absolutely not. Right. Absolutely not. A victim it entails that I didn't feel I had a voice. I absolutely knew I could have walked out. Absolutely.
So you didn't feel like personally violated. It was just like, this is not my cup of tea. This is not my thing.
No, every time I got hit, I was like, I'm going to beat somebody. You hit me, I get, chick hit a nipple. Like, I was just like, oh my God. I'm not somebody, every time you strike me, I want to kill another member of your family. Like, it's just not okay. It's not okay. But at the end of the day, it was my decision to try something I didn't know if it was my personality or not, and it's not. So hence, I don't do it again.
Right.
I could have been the dom and then decided, no, I think I'm a better sub, and decide not to be the dom again. Like it's it's a trial and error, and I feel fortunate enough to be in an industry where I can trial and error myself.
I was going to ask you if I've had a lot of girls tell me that they feel like porn has been a great, like, safe place for them to try different, sexual things and discover themselves sexually. Has that been the case for you? Or do you feel like you kind of knew yourself in a sexual way before you came into the industry?
You're ever changing. You're ever changing. Who I was when I did my first porn is not who I am today. And there was about 3 different people in there in the middle, depending on who I was. Like at first I was like, I'm going to do it because I want to make extra money on the road dancing. Like this was very financial. And then it went into, oh my God, people love me. Don't you know who I am? And then, right? Cause that's the early 20s. Like you 24 years old, you'd be like, excuse me. I'm Julia Ann. I will beat you down if you don't. You will lose your job. I will get you fired, motherfucker. Like you will never DJ in this town again. Like you get a little attitude, which is why I always feel for the girls who kind of get everything handed to them right out the gate, because I'm like, all gonna get mad at her, but nobody gave her any skills to deal with this stuff.
Right.
Like I was the first person that was standing there looking at some grown-ass man cursing him out for playing the wrong DJ song. Now I look at my behavior and I was like, oh damn, I was ugly and so lucky that somebody didn't pummel me in the parking lot. Like, I don't know, who the hell do you think you are, little girl?
Yeah.
So
do you see some of these like younger divas kind of like lashing out on social media and just kind of laugh and feel like, oh, that was me?
No, I didn't have social media. By the grace of God.
Right? For me too. Like, thank God the internet wasn't there to like capture all the bullshit that I pulled in my 20s.
We're so safe.
I know, right?
I would have victimized the hell out of myself.
Yeah.
So in any case, but there was a lot of different people in there. And then I was in my 30s. 30. The most amazing age ever, because you can be like, you better listen to me. I'm a 30-year-old woman. You say I'm 29, the second 20 comes out of your mouth, they'd be like, you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
But you say 30, second you turn 30, you are like, I am a 30-year-old woman. And people are like, oh, yeah, she got experience. Did you say 29 and a half, 29 and 3/4? You'd be 29 and 11 months. They'd be like, 29. I have to listen to you.
But that means that 40s are even better, right?
But, okay, so 40.
Because I'm in my first year of my 40s.
Okay.
So I'm like, I need someone to tell me.
I'm in my last year.
Okay.
Of my 40s.
And the 40s were your best time
50
ever,
is
right?
next. So I would say my finest ages were between 35 and 42.
Okay.
But that's because I got hit really hard with perimenopause. I got hit hard. So I went through a lot of emotion, a lot of there was a lot. You shot me. Okay, so
I remember.
Yeah, you're gonna remember this, aren't you?
I remember.
So back in the day, I shot with her mother.
Yes.
So your mom used to shoot me a lot, actually. Yeah. Your mom used to shoot me a lot. And so that's great, you know. I mean, what did I have to complain about back then? You know, no, you can't touch me when we're going to do this shoot because everything is like not
fake.
It's R-rated. It's not X, okay? Because that's how it
The
was
tongue
back
is like
then.
this far from
I
the vagina.
swear, sooner or later in this picture, I might have brushed up against his scrotum. Like, it's just like you didn't actually touch each other in these stills. So, but that was our, you know, that was it. You know, you just, I'm pretty. And then by the time you shot me, I was having hot flashes.
I remember that.
And I literally would have to stop because the sweat would just come. And it was like I was standing on the sun. And so those years have gotten trying just from a physiological aspect, you know, being female and going through hormonal changes. Fucking brutal. But my late 30s, that 40-ish, you know, I was like, I have my shit together. I know what position is my favorite. I'd be like, bitch, you're going to go down on me like this. I was like, oh, wait a minute. You're next. Come on. Like I had a thing, you know, I had people that I wanted to work with so bad that I was like, I will totally charge you so much less if I can just have sex with that person. Or, Quasar, I'll remember when I was doing a scene with Tony Rebus and I was like, can we do anal? And he was like, I'm not paying you for anal. I go, that's not my question. Can we do anal? And I looked at Rebus. I'm like, can we do anal? And he's like, who am I to say no from a beautiful woman? So,
you know what I mean? Saying that in his accent.
Yeah.
Who am I to say no?
And then,
of course.
I know. And then Mike is like, I'm tragic. So I'm just tragic. God damn. So tragic. God. So in any case, you know, like there were all these varying people in there, you know, like it used to be like, I'm not doing that for less than this. At this point, I was like, I'll show up for free if you can just give me so-and-so. Like, you know, I mean, I just want to bang that dude because he's hot. Like these are just totally different people. And now I'm a little bit like, I don't know that I should be naked anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even so sure my husband should see me naked right now. Like, so it's hard because there's all these varying degrees of people when you've been, you know, somewhere for so long. You know, you've morphed and changed and accidentally reinvented. I never did it on purpose. And so you just continuously evolve. And so, yeah, my scenes evolved. You know, they started out pretty vanilla, then they went into something. Well, they started out vanilla. No, they started out artsy, went into vanilla, ended up being like, I'll do that, bro bang. And then went into a little bit insecure. And that's just my aging process, right? So right now I'm working on the insecure thing, which is no. I have not retired.
Because she doesn't get asked that question enough.
Yeah. Yes, I stopped doing boy, girl. No, it's not because I got married. I've been with the same man for 7 years and was fucking everyone. So just no. However, in my hormonal situation, I've taken a step back because I kind of need to focus on my health for a minute before I shoot. If I do boy girl again, it will probably be for my website. But the girl, I will eventually do with other people, with other companies again. But right now, I just am focusing on my health, and I'm in college, so I'm also focusing a lot on that, which is when you're studying a lot, you sit a lot. So I'm trying to get my health back, and everybody can just, you know, take a chill for a second, give me a minute, and realize since 91 to now, I've been pretty consistent. Give me a break. I'm taking a sabbatical.
So how do you feel about like the new kinds of scenes that everybody's shooting, like the trends that are in porn today, like how you're either like a teen or a MILF? I mean, has that been something that's been a little bit frustrating to you? Do you find that you're just like pigeonholed into particular roles?
I don't know that it. I have a lot of children out there, apparently. A lot of stepchildren. I have sex with a lot of my stepchildren. And their friends. You know, I don't really think about it. It's par for the course. It's okay. It's being human. Mm-hmm. I think no matter what happens in your life, you as you age, you change gears, and people see you as different roles. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why the industry should be any different. It's the microcosm of the macrocosm. Like, right. You know, if I were working in a restaurant, you know, people would be like, "Oh, look at the cute hot maid or cute hot waitress," and then, you know, by the end of it, they'll be like, "Oh, Polly's been working here a long time with a pineapple hairdo." You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter kind of where you're at. Yeah. Like, you're viewed a certain way, and that's placed upon you well before the industry gets a hold of a title.
Right.
You know, and then they just work with what they've got. You know, it's a reality. We aren't making the stuff up. We're just kind of embellishing on what people are already doing.
Do you find that like you encounter like ageism, and is it frustrating to you at all?
I don't. I think the most the ageism that could happen, I place on myself. Mm-hmm. I recognize, if anything else, in college, I see it. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. You know, like when the teacher turns and he's talking to all the students, he's like, and then he's like, does anybody, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, yeah, so let's talk about TV. And then he'll look at me and he'll be like, can you tell them something about when TV was, and I'm like this, I do this every time because I'm loud, right? I go, you just called me old in the middle of a classroom. He's like, no, I didn't. I go, you did. Y'all heard it, right? Teacher said I was old. Why do you have to drag me down this road of dismay? You know? Like,
I mean, I ask you that because I am like I'm 40 and I'm at that point where I'm just like,
I think you do it more to yourself than anybody because you are thinking, are they viewing me like I viewed that other one that's still 100%. Shopping at Forever 21.
100%.
And
I remember when I was...
By the way, I was never Forever 21. I never shopped at that store. It's way too pedestrian. Okay.
When I was 22, I was dating somebody who worked at Wicked, and he had a very good friend. I know you know who I'm talking about. I don't know if I'm going to name her, but he had a very good friend who was in probably the age I am now, and they were very, very close. And I like found out later that basically he was fucking her the whole time that we were supposedly together. And I was like so naive and I didn't know. And I remember being like so angry and competitive with her and being like, oh, well, she's just this old bitch and I'm this hot, like 22-year-old, you know, like fuck her, you know, what does she know? And like how pathetic, you know, is she trying to be like, you know, hot at her age? And I am now her age.
But wait a minute. Are you now thinking, oh, this is what she was thinking of me?
Yes.
Because now you're going, oh, she was looking down her nose at me and going, poor little girl.
Yeah, you stupid little girl. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now like the roles are reversed.
Now you realize I wasn't as hot as I thought I was because she was looking at me like, oh, aren't you sweet?
Yes. Yeah, I mean the perspective change has been really interesting. I know it's funny because I'm condescending on both ends of the spectrum, right?
Know, but she was condescending me.
But yeah, so, and you know, I have some friends who are much younger than me, and like I went to the Playboy Midsummer Night's Stream Party with who did I go? I went with like Bailey Rain, and I was like invisible. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, man. And then the other day,
you get to a point where you rely on your name.
Yeah, well,
you rely on your name. It's not so much the looks now. You're relying on your name. You rely on your past,
right,
to dictate how your day is going to be, or how that moment or your experience. Mm-hmm. So it used to be like where you'd be like, I was hot. What's your name? Holly Randall. Oh, you're Holly Randall. Yeah. Now it's like, oh, hi. Who are you, Julianne? Oh, you're Julia Ann. But but the initial hello is really just like, who's this mature lady who's here, right? But a lot of it is you're putting on yourself. You've already decided how that other group is going to view you.
Right.
According to your own experience in life.
And I think it doesn't
may
help
or may not be true
that I'm surrounded constantly by 20-year-olds and I'm shooting naked 20-year-olds all the time. And I'm like...
Yeah, but think about it. You're also getting the experience of this.
Right.
Recognizing that they think you're hot and they would bang you in a hot second.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yes, they would.
I don't know about that.
Oh... I can't tell you how many times I hear about how Holly's so fucking hot. Holly's so fucking hot.
Really?
Yes.
Go on.
No, I'm going to tell you Holly's fucking hot. And because I also do makeup. I do makeup a lot, especially for Quasar. And so I'm the one saying, no, Holly's so hot. You know, or they'll be on the, Jenna, Holly's so hot.
Well, Jenna loves MILFs, so.
Yes, but that's not the point. The point is that they think, that's okay. Dana DeArmond, 10 years ago, when Diana Loren came back and was doing some stuff, she was like, fucking Diana's so fierce. She's just fierce, you know, and she's older than both of us.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, the realities is that we are in an industry where you can't look at these girls that you shoot and think they're just like the average girl that's on the street.
I know. I've these such skewed perspectives, but even living in LA,
these women that that are shot in our industry are a cut above.
Yeah,
they are in a whole nother level, whole nother playing field of acceptance of other women being beautiful and not feeling like it takes away from them. They're actually like, they will look at you and be like, you're so hot. You know what I mean? Where you'll have another girl look at you and be like, she ain't nothing. Like, like what we call civilians. But the women in our industry, in all,
a lot of them love women,
are very much I'm going to tell you, you're fucking hot. You are hot. She's fucking hot. Like it's different.
Yeah.
Like we're actually, we can really build each other's self-esteem.
Do you think that there's like a camaraderie there too? Because we're kind of like the black sheep of the entertainment industry. So sometimes
it was more before social media. The social media has, like I said, I think split us apart a little bit and then in some levels clicked us.
Yeah.
Although contract girls were often clicked, but it wasn't because they really clicked themselves. It was because the companies kind of clicked them. Like, we're going to make our own clique, you know, and then we don't want you to hang out with the other ones.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, I think that fucking girls are like, Holly Randall's so hot. Like, I hear it so much. It's ridiculous. In fact, I'm sitting there going, I'm Julia Ann.
By the way, this is my favorite topic that we've. Let's talk more about what other people say about me. No, but seriously,
that's so great. More about me.
I do recognize though that like I look in the mirror and this is so funny because it's like it's so counterintuitive against what I know because, you know, I'll shoot girls who are themselves might be kind of insecure and be like, oh, I need to get my boobs done or, oh, this is wrong with me. This is wrong with me. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like, you're fucking stunning. Like, how do you not look in the mirror and see that? Right. And I can even see some people who might have like certain flaws here or there, but overall they're a beautiful person. And a lot of it has to do with their energy. Yeah. And, you know, I really admire them as a human being. So collectively, like, they're gorgeous, but I look in the mirror and all I see is those little flaws. And I know like intellectually the way that I'm seeing myself.
I see Walmart
is wrong. You see Walmart?
When I look in the mirror, I see Walmart.
What do you mean you see Walmart?
I see Walmart people. I'm to the point now where I see Walmart people. I look in the mirror and I go, oh yeah, I've turned into that. I need to go get a job at Walmart. Like, literally on Walmart people. Like, I look in the mirror now and I see the aging Midwesterner that, you know, has had too much fucking Popeye's chicken, and I'm like, my skin's getting that color. I got cougar chest, which is from the tanning from back in the day. I have wrinkles in places that I didn't know you could get wrinkles. I'm like, what's happening? And then one angle, I'm good, but I turn the other way, and I'm like, "Who's that bitch?" Like,
I know.
Like
the worst is when
literally,
you got
I'm
your
like
camera.
two different people. I'm like two different people.
I'll see pictures of myself and I'll be like, oh. I remember once I was shooting.
One side's like Target. The other side's like Walmart.
I was shooting for Twisties once, and we were shooting an 8K, right, on the red. And I went to go.
Nobody wants their porn in this. You guys know that, right? It's like got to be a number one fan gripe.
We downgraded to 6K. It's okay.
Thank God.
But I went to go slate in front of the camera, and it was a low shot because we were like shooting up, and we were shooting like Kira Noir. It was like perfect. She looks great from every angle, right? And I went to go slate, and so I'm looking at the rushes later, and I just see that, and it's in slow-mo too, right? Yeah. And so I just see this slow-mo of this upshot of me in 8K, and I'm like, slate. And I just freaked out. I was like, oh my God, I'm so ugly. And so my boyfriend comes home, and I'm like on the couch throwing a sulk, and he's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm so ugly. Why didn't you ever tell me how ugly I was? How come nobody told me? And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm so ugly. Like 3 days I was in like the worst funk.
Shit.
And so now I'm like, I'm not slating anymore. I'm not getting in front of that fucking camera. Like, no way.
So wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, me, I'm like, I have got to get my shit back together. Because, okay, so there was a point in time where like Janine was like, I don't know if you guys remember, but Janine kind of let herself go a little bit. She had she had some moments, right? She gained a lot of weight, of course, all the tattoos, which is fine. Right. I think they're great. But she gained a lot of weight. She wasn't taking care of herself. She was really much in a funk. And I'm now there. And it's funny because I'm 1 year behind her. So when I was telling her, she's like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. I totally know this. I just did this. And she said, I woke up one morning and I was like, am I really going to go out like that? Am I really going out like this? So what you have to do, Julia, is you need to go on YouTube and you need to look up exercises for women over 50 and 60. And I said, if you ever say these words to me again, I will put on Twitter everything I know about you. I swear to God, if you ever say to look up videos of women over 60, I will have you killed. And she's like, no, I'm just saying, I did this. And I was like, my God, that 60-year-old woman can do that? I have got to be able to do that. So now she's all like 136 pounds, fucking ripped up because she's naturally that muscular person that has the baby and then afterwards looks better. I don't know how that happens. So with me, I haven't had children, but if I even had children, there would be no coming back. Like there's just none. But her, it was literally like her body went, you don't have a kid. You should be rocking.
Yeah.
Like, why? And so, now she's like, I have to tell you, there was like this period of time because she'd always been so solid and her body was always so great. I kind of liked it. I'm a little fucked up there. Like I was like, look at her, she's a little heavy. I'm kind of liking this. And instead of next to me, I'm like, so I got my shit together, right? Like I'm looking good. Now she's like, I'm 136 pounds. I've been rocking this shit, Julia. Let's go do this. And I'm like, I don't want to stand next to you anymore. Fuck you. No. So now I'm like, I have got to get back into shape. I cannot go out like that because she's not going out like that.
How is Janine doing?
She's good. We're going to be at Portland Exotica.
Cool.
Yeah, in June. So the first week, I think it's like the first weekend in June, and we're going to be signing there. But now I'm like, I don't want to sign next to you because you look good. I liked it better when you look like shit. The hell? Because that's true friendship.
So one thing that I know that you're extremely passionate about is animal rescue. And actually, when we were talking on the phone the other day, you had a parrot that you had just rescued, right?
I did.
So do you just foster animals a lot? Like how exactly do you work in animal rescue?
It really depends. I'm older. Depends. Sorry. Okay.
I just got it.
One time Jenna Fox asked me, depends do they make diapers for older people too? I was like, no, they only make What's wrong with you?
Wait, who else needs diapers?
I don't know.
Oh, did you think like babies? Oh,
I don't know.
see.
But the only thing I say to her every day is, what's wrong with you? Something's wrong with you. It happens every day. What's wrong with you? Something's wrong with you. I'm special. Yes, you are. Okay. So, animal rescue, it really depends on the situation. Like, okay, so the other day, Melissa Monet is like, there's a hoarding case. We have a problem. Mm-hmm. Do you want to reach out to reptile rescue and see if they can take any reptiles? And I said, well, how many? And she's like, well, I'm not quite sure. So I actually went to the house, and altogether there was probably like 400 animals or something. Jeez. From what I understand.
How big was the house?
Small, normal, modular kind of.
Okay, so it's not like a ranch or anything like that.
No, it was like a trailer park kind of situation. So no, very, very normal size. And but there's parrots and pigs and guinea pigs and rabbits and turkeys and tortoises and parrots and reptiles and the list goes on, ducks and turkeys and pigeons and doves and I could literally just keep going. Like there's there's literally everything but probably horses. Like everything else was there, I swear to you. And so I went in to get the reptiles. There were no reptiles. Somebody already swept the reptiles, and I ended up taking out 5 tarantulas, 5 random paradise fish that were in their own little things. That I just grabbed. I got them in Tupperware. Well, Melissa May brought them to me in Tupperware. I got the tarantulas, and then the one parrot I took out of all the parrots.
How many pets do you have?
I'm not legally allowed to say.
Okay.
No, actually, it's not that bad. I have a few dogs. I don't have a ton of dogs. Like, because I always try to be within my limit unless I foster, because then the foster, obviously it's going to go. So it's not like the city can be like, you have too many dogs. So I try to stay within reason there. I have the 2 Chinese water dragons, a parrot, the dogs.
How many dogs?
The dogs.
Okay.
And I might have 4.
I don't think that's insane.
No, it's not. But I think the legal limit might be 3.
Okay.
So
is it like per square footage or something like that, right?
No, it's like county. It's per household.
Really?
Yeah. It'll be like whatever the city is. So like Glendale was actually 2. Unless you got a personal kennel license, and then you could have 4.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Because my parents, well, they don't now. They have 4, but they had 5, but they have a 30-acre ranch. So,
yeah, but
you didn't notice.
Yeah, but but those are the words. They didn't notice. Like,
right.
Technically, they may only be allowed 3.
Interesting.
So if they had them all licensed to the city would be like, you can only have 3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that there was actually a limit on how many dogs you could have. I knew that there was a certain point that they would call you a hoarder and come in and take your animals.
Yeah, no.
But I didn't realize that there was actually some kind of law there.
There are
that makes
city
sense.
limits. I think that they were wanting to raise it to either 4 or 5. Like in San Diego, there's various parts where you can have 5 and 6. But up here, it's generally in that 2, 3 kind of range. My Chihuahua's going to die soon, though, so I'll be down to 3 and I'll be good. He's a horrible animal, so I'm just saying. Everybody who knows the stories understands. And then I would have said I had 5 fish, but I woke up this morning and I had 3 extra ones.
Oh.
So apparently someone had some babies.
Oh, boy. So you have a lot of pets.
I do.
But animals
I
are
woke
amazing.
up in the morning. I had to feed the dogs. Then I had to feed the parrot. Then I had to feed the Chinese water dragons. And then I fed the fish. And then I had to feed myself. And then I had to come here. And that's how that went.
Do you ever? For me, I want to work. There's part of me that wants to work in animal rescue and stuff. But I have a real problem with I can't go to a pound because I want to take all the dogs home. Like, it really gets me. Like, I get really like attached, and it makes me nothing.
You know what'll cure you?
Get me in the way that dogs can get me.
I can cure you of that.
How's that?
So the very first time I decided to pull a lot, and that was actually because I had to go to the shelter looking for another dog that had gotten dumped. And in that, I went to that shelter and I was like, oh my God, there's a lot going on here. And then Melissa Monet was like, you know that there's a list of like 70-something Chihuahua and Chihuahua mixes that are at threat of being euthanized at the East Valley shelter. And I was like, holy shit, let's go. So she and I got a rescue to back us. We took 13 dogs out, took them all to my house, set them all up in various rooms. Everybody had their own little kennel run with their own wee-wee pads and everything, so I could see who had diarrhea and who wasn't drinking and who wasn't eating. And so everybody had their situations.
Right.
So 13 plus mine. So once you have 16 and 17 dogs in your home.
Yeah, it's a little much.
You develop the skin to be like, you have got to go. You have got to find your people. Like, we have got to find your people. Because as much as I love you, you cannot stay here. Like, so that's what cured me of wanting to keep all animals.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, my whole purpose is to find the best situation for that creature. And I'm not the best situation. Like, once I have a certain amount of animals, I recognize everyone else, as much as I love them, will fall through some crack. And not just that, but that it will take away from my resources for my own. Therefore, I can only handle this, and everybody else has to, it is actually in their best interest to find their people. So once you start doing that and you start recognizing it's about finding something better than you, then you're okay with it because it's better than you. Yeah.
I mean, I rescued a dog actually when I was shooting for Digital Playground, named Maggie, and
is this the one that was on the street?
The one that Billy Visual helped me catch.
I think so, because I think I started to argue with you about it a little bit. I was like, you have to take it to the shelter.
And I was like, no.
And I was like, no, you have to take it to the shelter. And you're like, no. And I was like, no, you have to take it to the shelter because you don't know, like, her people. Like, you can always go back and get her, but you have to take her to the shelter. And you were like, no.
Nope.
And I was like, okay, I can't talk to her anymore. I can't. We're going to
We did put out posters. We did put out everywhere that I could possibly list her, and I held her for a week. But then
you can do that,
yeah. I mean, honestly, we did everything that we could to try to help her find her home. But anyways, my assistant ended up taking her, and she is like the best life. He takes her on like hikes. They go camping out in the mountains together. I mean, literally, she has her own Instagram, and she is the happiest, most spoiled dog in the world. And nothing makes me happier than seeing the life that he gives her is like beyond what I could have given her. So I'm super glad that he took her.
And that's the point, is that you have to get them to where they have to go. Yeah. And you are just that place. And if you hold on, you can't help anybody else. You know, you get stuck and you're like, my whole purpose is I want to help. I can't help if I have no place to help. I have no room to help. Yeah. So you have to get your ego out of the way in order to make room to help. I just have one now that came from the vet, and I have no problem with the Gateway Animal Hospital in Glendale. I have used them my entire adult life. My parents used them. My grandparents used them. Absolutely adored this vet. I spent so much money there. It's like literally ridiculous. But I have completely soured because it's the second time I've taken a blood donor from them. But somebody dropped off a dog there. Instead of trying to find a place for this dog, they keep the dog in a cage for 2 fucking years, use her as a blood donor for all other animals that are coming in. God. And then when I took her from them, she was sick. She was urinating everywhere. I had to have her tested for all kinds of things. I took her to a specialty hospital and everything else because this is what was said to me. We can't absorb the cost on this dog if she's sick. You bled this dog for 2 years. You took her life. You soaked her of blood. You made a living off of her. You used her to save lives, and now you owe her life nothing?
Wow. I didn't know that.
So angry.
I didn't know that people that hospitals did that. That just kept like a donor.
They can. In some places, though, like the owners, like let's say you work at the vet or you are the vet, right? And you have your own dogs, and you're like, I'm going to bring my dog in just in case, so that way you have blood standing by if you need it, right? It's got to come from somewhere, of course,
right?
But to steal her life and to then not owe her life after you made money off of her, to me, was ethically reprehensible.
Oh, that's really disturbing.
It's very hard to let go of your vet when you've had them like forever. Mm-hmm. But I've never been so disgusted in my life. And it's one thing to do the blood donor thing. I realize there's a lot of things that we don't like in life, and it doesn't thrill me. But to owe her life nothing, after she's sick, you've been giving other dogs blood from a dog that potentially has an ailment, and you don't know about it, or you do. So either you don't know about it, which means you've spent no time, had paid no attention to the medical needs or the medical status of a dog that you're using her blood for other dogs, or you do know and you didn't care.
Wow.
So these are our options.
Right.
Either way, you're a tool.
Yeah.
So, that one. So I have her. And because I took her in and she has moments of being incontinent, we've never been able to pinpoint what the problem is. Mm-hmm. I've kept her.
Are you going to plan to foster her out at all, or are you just going to keep her?
She's going to stay.
Okay.
Because to me, that's another thing. I will never rescue an animal that I don't feel I'm willing to be stuck with.
Right.
And this is something I'd said to other rescuers because they keep getting stuck. And they kept wanting like rescue to pool animals. And I'm like, okay, but what happens when it doesn't work out? We can't find a place for this animal, or this animal is sick, or there's something where this animal's unadoptable. Then this animal ends up getting transferred to the founder, and now the founder has too many animals. So that's got to stop. So this is what you do. You look at this animal and you say, I really, 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 really want our rescue to pull this animal. Am I willing to take responsibility for the animal that I want the rescue to pull for the rest of its life if this goes wrong?
Right.
And I go, because if you're not, don't you ask this rescue to pull it.
Yeah.
Because you're all going to, when it goes wrong, you all keep stashing it at the same person's house. Mm-hmm. And that person is overrun.
Right.
So it's unfair. So I try to only also rescue what I truly believe. If I look at this animal and go, am I willing to spend the rest of your life with you? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Then I will rescue you.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Because not everything's perfect, man. Yeah. You get that animal and all of a sudden you realize that animal's got like cancer or seizures or it's highly aggressive or it has thyroid problems, whatever it is. And then people are like, I don't want to adopt that dog. Well, now it's your dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Julia, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.